Welcome back to WZ Tales. In today's story, we explore Don't Argue with My Mother, and if you can't handle it, just leave. As you listen, notice the exact moment where you think he should have walked away for good. My fiancé said, "Don't argue with Mother, just go." I replied, "Then watch me leave for good." Then I moved out overnight, piece by piece, ended the lease, left the ring on the counter, and I just watched as her family's control games backfired and friends finally saw who really walked away. I am Arvin. I am 30 years old, a data analyst at a logistics company in Charlotte. I make around $88,000 a year. My fiancée, Hannah, is 28, a respiratory therapist who makes about $75,000. We have been together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months, living together for a year and a half in my apartment. It was an apartment I had been renting on my own before she moved in. The lease was in my name. All the utilities were in my name. The furniture was almost all mine. Hannah always warned me about her mother. "Mom likes to test people. Just don't react," she would say. Her mother is Dr. Lorraine West, early 60s, all about status and appearances. She has made comments about my ordinary career path and how I should be more ambitious like Grant, Hannah's older brother, the golden child in finance who bought a condo early. Hannah kept saying I needed her mother's approval if I wanted peace in the family. This was the first red flag I ignored because I thought loving Hannah meant accepting every part of the package. Thanksgiving this year was at Lorraine's house. Fancy china, big spread, the whole production. Everything was fine until dessert. "So, Arvin," Lorraine started, "Hannah tells me you are still at that same company, no promotions yet." "I got a raise last year," I said. "The work is solid and I am good at what I do." She gave a tight smile. "That is nice, dear, and you are still renting. Grant already owned his first condo at your age." Hannah shot me a warning look. I kept my cool. "I am comfortable financially," I said. "I am not rushing into buying just to buy." Lorraine took a sip of wine. "Hannah's father and I bought our first home at 26. Different generations have different priorities, I suppose. Some people are just more driven." That stung, but I stayed composed. "I am proud of being self-reliant and financially stable," I said. "That shows drive." The air in the room changed. Lorraine's smile disappeared. Hannah's eyes went wide. Hannah grabbed my arm. "Can I talk to you?" She pulled me into the hallway before I could answer. "What are you doing?" she hissed. "I stated a fact about my own life," I said. "You contradicted my mother at her table on Thanksgiving." She sounded genuinely angry, not at her mother for the insult, but at me for not taking it. "Hannah, she just called me unambitious in front of everyone," I said. "She did not mean it like that. You are being too sensitive." "So what do you want me to do?" I asked. She crossed her arms. "Don't argue with my mother, and if you can't handle it, just leave." I looked at her for a long moment. 3 years together, engaged, and in that moment she chose her mother's right to disrespect me over my basic dignity. "Okay," I said. Many people would have stayed, swallowed the insult, and apologized for causing drama. He chose to take those words literally. I walked back into the dining room, grabbed my jacket, and said to the whole table, "Thanks for having me. I am heading out." Lorraine looked pleased. Hannah's face shifted from anger to confusion. "Arvin, wait," she said. "You told me if I could not handle it, I should leave," I said. "So I am leaving." I drove back to our apartment, my apartment. Halfway home my phone started buzzing, text after text. "You are being ridiculous. You are embarrassing me. This is so childish. Not one, 'Are you okay?' Not one, 'I am sorry about what she said.' Just anger that I had made her look bad. I sat in my living room and looked around. The lease, my name. The furniture, mostly mine. Utilities, internet, parking, all in my accounts. Hannah had moved into my life. I had not moved into hers. I checked our wedding planning email account on my laptop. Her personal email was still logged in. That is when I saw the thread. An email chain from 3 weeks ago. Lorraine had sent Hannah a prenup template and questions about my financial history. Hannah had been emailing a lawyer. She had never mentioned any of this to me. The subject line on that email stopped me cold. Protecting you from a mediocre match. Prenups themselves are not the problem. They can be smart. There is a difference between planning for the future and planning around someone you secretly see as beneath you. I stared at the screen for 20 minutes. Everything started to click. The digs about my career, the constant comparison to Grant, the Thanksgiving test. Lorraine was not just being rude. She was checking whether I would let her walk all over me. Hannah telling me don't react was not about peace. It was about proving I would roll over any time her mother flexed. I opened my laptop again and started searching for moving companies that had weekend availability. I did not sleep that night. I made a list of everything in the apartment that was mine versus hers. About 85% of it was mine. The next morning, Hannah stayed at her mother's house, too upset to come home. I called out of work. Then I called building management. Stephanie, the woman who had handled our lease for 2 years, answered. "I'm thinking of not renewing when the lease is up in January," I said. "What is the process?" "Just 60 days notice," she said. "Is Hannah on the lease?" I asked. "No," she said, "just you." "Has anyone else called about the apartment recently?" I asked. She paused. "Actually, yes," she said. "Earlier this week, a woman called asking about tenant rights and changing locks. She said she was your fiancé's mother. I told her I could only discuss the lease with you." Earlier this week was 2 days before Thanksgiving. So Lorraine had already been asking how to keep Hannah in the apartment if I abandoned it. This shows how often a sudden family blow-up is actually built on careful planning behind the scenes. I gave Stephanie notice that I would not renew. Then I spent the rest of Friday canceling or transferring things. Electric, gas, water, internet, all set to stop or move. Streaming passwords changed. Shared credit card, I removed Hannah as an authorized user. Saturday morning, the movers came. I had rented a storage unit. We moved out my bed, my couch, my TV, my desk, my kitchen gear. I left her things, her dresser, the cheap coffee table, some chairs. By the time we were done, the place looked like someone else's half-empty apartment. Before I left, I put an envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside was a copy of the lease showing my name only, a copy of my 60-day notice, and a note, "You told me to leave if I could not handle your family's disrespect. I am leaving. Lease ends January 31st. Find other arrangements. Your belongings are safe. Schedule a pickup time. The ring is in the box." I set the engagement ring box next to the note. Sunday evening, my phone lit up. "Where is everything?" "Arvin, answer your phone. You can't just leave. This is my home too," I texted back once. "Check the envelope. The lease is in my name. I am leaving per your instruction. Everything is legal. Do not contact me except to arrange getting your belongings." 6 hours of silence. Monday morning, the tone changed. "Okay, I overreacted. Can we talk?" "Arvin, I am sorry I was harsh. My mom was just being protective. We can work through this if you come back." Still nothing about telling me to leave. Nothing about the prenup. Just sorry for being harsh. The next day, I got a message from Hannah's friend Jess. "Hey, Hannah is telling people you could not handle her family's success and her mom had to step in because you were not stable. Is that true? It does not sound like you." My stomach dropped. Hannah was not just upset. She was rewriting the story. I forwarded Jess's message to Hannah. "Tell the truth or I will," I wrote. 5 minutes later she replied, "You are threatening me now." "I am giving you a chance to be honest with our mutual friends," I said. She called, I answered. "Arvin, you abandoned me before the holidays," she said. "You told me you were leaving like a child." "You told me to leave," I said. "What did you think just leave meant?" "You should have known I did not mean it," she said. "You were supposed to cool off and come back and apologize to my mother." "Apologize to the woman who called me mediocre and unambitious at her table?" I asked. She did not answer that. She just shifted. "Did you tell your friends I am unstable?" I asked. Silence. "Did you tell them your mother had to intervene because I could not handle success?" I asked. "I was upset," she said. "Yes or no?" "Yes," she said. "But I hung up. Notice how the target of the disrespect is the one being told to fix the fallout and carry the blame. That is how control keeps its mask on. A couple of days later, I went back to the building to handle mail and forwarding. Stephanie from management pulled me aside. "Arvin, can we talk?" she said. She opened a note in her system. "On Monday, the day before Thanksgiving, Dr. West called," she said. She asked very specific questions. She wanted to know if Hannah had any legal right to stay if you moved out. She asked about changing locks. She asked if there was any way to add someone to the lease after the fact. I logged it because it felt off. So it had not just been rude comments at dinner. It had been a setup. If I exploded and stormed off, they would push a story that I had abandoned Hannah while trying to anchor her in my place. The only thing they had not counted on was that I would leave calmly and start doing everything by the book. Then came the public part. Hannah wrote a long Facebook post about how her fiancé had abandoned her right before the holidays and left her homeless because he could not handle her family's success. She said her mother had simply asked normal questions about my career and I had lost it. There were dozens of supportive comments. I am not a drama guy. I hate turning private things into a show, but I also was not going to let that version become everyone's truth, so I sent one group message. To Hannah, to Lorraine, to Grant, and to a few mutual friends who had commented, I attached screenshots. Hannah's text, "Don't argue with my mother, and if you can't handle it, just leave." The prenup email thread with the subject, "Protecting you from a mediocre match." Jess's message about Hannah calling me unstable. A copy of my lease, showing only my name. My message was simple. I left because I was told to leave after being insulted. I removed my belongings from an apartment I rented alone for 4 years. I gave 60 days notice. I am not abandoning anyone. I am choosing self-respect. These are the facts. Then I turned off my phone for 3 hours. When I turned it back on, everything was lit up. 2 mutual friends apologized. One wrote, "I am so sorry. I had no idea she told you to leave." Grant, Hannah's brother, called. "Arvin, it is Grant," he said. "Can we talk?" "I don't think there is much to say," I said. "There is," he said. "I need to tell you something I should have said at Thanksgiving." He took a deep breath. "My mom did this to my ex 4 years ago," he said. Different details, same pattern. She tested her, pushed her, waited to see if she would submit or break. When my ex pushed back, my mom made her life hell until she left. "I should have warned you." He went on. "My mom needs to be the authority in her kids' relationships. If she can't control your partner, she makes you choose between them and her. Hannah always chooses mom." "Why did you never say anything?" I asked. "Because I am a coward," he said quietly. "I keep the peace by keeping my head down and keeping my wife away from family drama." "But you did not deserve this. Hannah knew exactly what she was doing when she told you to leave. That is part of the script. Give you an impossible choice, then blame you for how you react." We talked for 20 minutes. He told me their dad had divorced Lorraine partly because of how she treated people. He told me Hannah's last serious relationship had ended for the same reason. "You did the right thing leaving," he said. "I just wish I had your courage when it was my turn." When someone from the inside tells you, "This is a pattern," believe them. You are not just unlucky. You are walking into a system that already has a role written for you. Later, Hannah posted a new message. "Due to personal attacks and private matters being shared without consent, I am taking a break from social media. Thank you to everyone who supported me." She deleted the first post. A day later, she texted me from a number I had not blocked. "Can we meet in person, please? No parents, no friends, just us." Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a neutral coffee shop. She looked tired, not polished, not controlled, just worn out. She sat down and stared at her coffee for a full minute. "I am not going to apologize for my mother," she said finally. "I did not expect you to," I said, "but I should apologize for telling you to leave," she said. "I was angry. I wanted you to back down and you didn't. I said something I didn't mean." "Did you really not mean it?" I asked. "Or did you not expect me to actually do it?" She looked up. "I thought you would cool off and come back and we would fix it like we always do," she said. "Hannah, your mother called building management before Thanksgiving to ask about evicting me from my own apartment," I said. "Did you know about that?" Her face went pale. "What?" she said. "Monday before Thanksgiving," I said. "She was already planning how to keep you in that apartment if I moved out. That dinner was a setup." "That is not, she would not do that," she said. "She did," I said. "I have the log." She sat there in silence, then finally said very quietly, "She just wants what is best for me." "And I did not qualify as best unless I let her run our relationship," I said. "You would have if you just tried harder with her," she said. There it was. The truth under everything. "I need to ask you something," I said. "Did you love me, or did you love the idea of getting married and I was the person standing there?" She flinched. "That is not fair," she said. "Answer it," I said. She stared at the table. "I do not know," she said. "I think I loved what we could have been if you had been willing to compromise." "Compromise means both people give something up," I said. "You wanted me to give up my dignity. You gave up nothing." She started to cry. This time it was not anger, just sadness. "I did not mean for it to go this far," she said. "I just wanted everyone to get along." "At my expense," I said. "Always at my expense." We sat in silence. "What happens now?" she asked. "You find a new place by the end of January," I said. "We split whatever wedding deposits are refundable. We eat the cost on the rest. You keep your stuff, I keep mine. We are done." "Just like that?" she asked. "Hannah, it was just like that when you told me to leave," I said. "Everything since has been logistics." She nodded slowly and stood. "For what it is worth," she said, "I hope you find someone who fits better with what you need. I hope you figure out what you want apart from what your mother wants," I said. She left. I sat for a while and let my body catch up with the decision my mind had already made. About a week later, Grant texted me. "Mom tried spinning the story to her friends," he wrote. "Said you were unstable and she had to protect Hannah. Someone showed them your receipts. Now half her circle thinks she sabotaged Hannah's relationship. She is furious but can't admit she is wrong. Hannah and I talked. She is starting to see how Mom operates. They are barely speaking. Mom is losing control of both her kids. Best thing that could have happened." I did not respond. I just saved the message. It is not my circus anymore, but there is a small kind of justice when manipulation finally trips itself. Today is Saturday. I am in my new apartment. It is smaller, quieter, cheaper. My couch and TV are set up. My gaming setup is back. There are no photos of us on the walls, no wedding spreadsheets on my laptop, just space. Next Thanksgiving, I am going to my buddy Marcus's place. His wife has already invited me. No tests, no power plays. Just food and football. Maybe I will meet someone new someday. Maybe I will not. Either way, I am okay. They called me unambitious and mediocre because I did not make enough to impress Lorraine. But I walked away because right now I am rich in something they cannot measure, self-respect. And that is worth more than any approval they were holding over my head. Lesson 1. When someone says you must earn their family's approval, look closely at what they actually mean by approval. Often it is submission, not respect. Lesson 2. Being told to just leave after you calmly defend yourself is a clear sign that your dignity is not safe in that relationship. Lesson 3. Patterns of manipulation and control rarely start with you. If you see a history of the same script with past partners, take it seriously. Lesson 4. You do not have to accept being rewritten as the villain. Quiet facts and receipts can protect your reputation better than public arguments. Lesson 5. Walking away from disrespect, even when it costs you money or convenience, is not failure. It is choosing long-term peace over short-term approval. What would you have done at that Thanksgiving table when Hannah said, "If you can't handle it, just leave"? Have you ever dealt with a partner whose family tried to control your relationship and expected you to accept it? Share how you handled it and what you would do differently now.